A room plunged in darkness, yet the floor was aglow. A jury above and a jury below sat waiting for the judge to enter the court to determine my fate, following my perceived last resort. On my left stood a figure in a suit all in red. Her black eyes stared daggers and filled me with dread. On my right stood a vision in a robe dressed in blue. His eyes were like diamonds with a sparkling hue. Make no mistake, he gazed at me with grave disapproval, as he was made aware of my situation upon my arrival. The woman in red sneered and prepared for the show, nodding to the snickering jury below. The jury above and the man in blue sat stone-faced in their seats, and in the pit of my stomach the feeling of dread began to creep. In the crowded courtroom I felt so alone. "All rise," the bailiff cried. His voice rang like a baritone. When the judge walked in and took his chair, I saw his face, and I was made aware of the skeletal frame of the reaper, such a marvel, for instead of a scythe he carried a gavel. Knowing what I'd done and where I was, my spirits then fell. On the right was my heaven, on the left was my hell. We all took our seats, and the court was called to order. Then the trial began. "Consider, Your Honor." The seething, sinister statement slithered through to everyone's ears around the courtroom. The woman in red maliciously grinned as she proceeded to reveal my every sin, every stolen token, every lie ever spoken, every act of abuse, every promise ever broken, every adulterous act of betrayal, but perhaps the most chilling, every perverse instance of arousal for the vicious vision of killing. Ashamed of myself, I stared at my feet, listening to the room hum as I sank in my seat. Then the room fell silent at the judge's demand. Said he, "What's this to do with the subject at hand?" "I agree completely," the man in blue gushed. "I believe we have more important things to discuss." He stood from his seat, boldly determined to prove to the court that I was a good person. He brazenly announced my every instance of care, every homeless person fed, every lock of donated hair, every gift given freely, sometimes done discreetly, every animal loved and handled so gently, every good karmic seed reaped from kept Christian creed, every hour of sleep lost to help loved ones in need. The courtroom erupted in argument so savage as the lawyers demanded where my soul should inhabit. The judge slammed his gavel and impatiently retorted, "When her fate is decided, this all shall be sorted. But is her life worth sparing? Shall she die or shall she live?" The embarrassed lawyers quieted. They had no answer to give. Unable to say a word myself, the silence grew like a cancer. Then from the shadow beneath my seat, there came a quiet answer. "Her actions declare the potential for good, per your own admission. Perhaps her purpose for her life has yet to come to fruition." This new party was unobserved before, but emerged for the judge and smiled. The mellow voice produced from my chair was revealed to be a child. "Of course she has sinned, that much is true, and all of it will stick to her conscience like glue, weighing her down into a deep depression as she ruminates about every transgression. Remorse is a powerful teacher, you know. All she requires is the advantage to grow into the person I know she has the potential to be. All I ask for, Your Honor, is a little granted sympathy." The judge leaned in his chair and scratched his chin, as if he were giving this child some consideration. "Perhaps you're right," said he. "The trial is much too soon. I grant you lenience. Please leave my courtroom." Taking my hand and humming a light, cheerful tune, the child led me out of the Reaper's courtroom. I awoke in the afternoon in my bed, with the empty prescription on its side by my head. Dizzy and hazy, I realized I'm alive, and sadly lamented about my failed suicide. I screamed in frustration and began to cry, but I also felt relieved, though I didn't know why. Looking back now, I'm glad that I lived. I still have work to do and still more love to give. I realized my child guardian angel was I, and she was correct in saying it was not my time to die. Though I still feel the weight, my shackles are now broken. My spirit alive, my soul has awoken. Back then my depressed mind would not let me foresee that many years later I would finally be free.